Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Lily. I'm the person behind Crafts and Crumbs if you're new here. And if you're not new here, thanks so much for coming back. So in today's video, we're going to keep working on my Friday Slipover, which I'm really excited about. I'm making really good progress on the body. It's just feeling like it's taking some time because I'm making it on 3.5mm needles, which is probably why it's taking me a while. I'm already past the halfway point on the body, so I really am making good progress. I think I'm going to stop on the body soon just to have a break and work on the neckline maybe, and then go back to work on the body. Because there aren't sleeves, it really just is working the ribbing on the neck and the armholes, and then that's really it. So I really should be done soon. I'm currently not at home. Me and my boyfriend went to visit my mom, which has been really fun. So we'll be here for another few days, which will be really nice. I am also wearing a sweater that I made for my mom in this really pretty kind of sea greenish. It's just a plain raglan sweater, nothing really special about it, but she really loves it, which means that I really love it. So that's really nice. So let me know what you're working on in the comments down below. And if you're not already, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any other videos while I finish the Friday Slipover and start my next few projects, which are going to be really exciting. I'm also waiting for a package from Wool Warehouse to arrive, which I'm really excited about. So hopefully that'll arrive during this video and we can do a yarn haul and talk about what sweaters I'm going to make with them, because I'm really excited and I'm going to be challenging myself to do different kinds of sweaters and some sweaters that I already have the patterns for in my stash. So stay tuned for that. So let's keep working on the Friday Slipover. Okay, so quick try on. Here's how it's looking. I think it's looking really nice. The width is so much better compared to the white one that I made before. So I'm actually getting pretty close. I think I'm at like 45 centimeters, and I think I want to get to like 50 before I start the ribbing. So really making good progress. I still have to do the neckline, of course, and the ribbing like on the sleeves, but I think it's looking really good. So let's see how it goes. Hello. So I'm popping on here to let you guys know that I finished the broken rib that I needed to do on the body, which is really exciting. And now I can start working on the ribbing for the body. So I'm going to start doing that now. And then afterwards, all we have left to do is work on the ribbing for the neckline and the ribbing for the sleeves. And then I'll be done with my slipover. So let's start working on the ribbing. Okay, so this has nothing to do with my knitting, but I did want to update you guys that I just finished the first book in the Throne of Glass series, The Assassin's Blade, and I really liked it. I did put it down in the middle. If you watched my last video, I talked a little bit about how I was in the middle of reading The American Heiress, and I stopped that and read The Assassin's Blade and stopped that, and I kind of couldn't decide which book to read. I did go back to The Assassin's Blade and I just finished it this morning. I really liked it. It's a prequel to Throne of Glass, so it's 5 novellas that kind of give a lot of background about the characters and kind of the world building that you need to know. So I wasn't sure if I liked it or not, and it's a little intimidating that Throne of Glass is an 8-book series, but I finished the first one, which I'm really excited about. I even went yesterday, right before I finished the book, to the bookstore to see if they had Throne of Glass, so I'll be able to start the next one right away. They did not, but that's okay. They said that they're going to get a shipment of the books next week, so hopefully I'll be able to pick up the book and I'll show you guys when I start reading it. So if anyone has read Throne of Glass, is reading Throne of Glass, tandem reads, when to read The Assassin's Blade, I'd love to hear it, even though I already read The Assassin's Blade and I read it first, so not much that we can do about that now, but I'd still love to hear it, and let me know your thoughts on the books if you've read them before too. In knitting related news, I also am working on the ribbing. I feel like it just takes a little bit of time. Same thing with broken rib, it just takes a while you're working in the round, but I am making progress on it and I'm really excited to see where we're going to get to. Hopefully we'll get to about 54-55 centimeters soon. That's usually when I like to stop, and then I can finish that and start working on the neckline. So I'm here for a progress update. Here's how it's looking. I think it's looking really good. I'm working on the ribbing now. I'm getting impatient, and that's why I'm trying it on all the time and not giving myself enough time to actually finish it, but it's looking really good. The back is at a length that I would like, but the front isn't so much. I usually tuck my sweaters and stuff in a little bit, so I feel like it needs a little bit more length, but I think 3 or 4 more rows and that'll definitely be enough. And then we can finally move on to the neckline, which I'm very excited about because I'm ready to be finished with the slipover. Not that I didn't have a good time, but I'm excited for my other projects. So I kind of want to finish this one and get the yarn so I can start working on my next project. So I think it's looking really good. I really like the way that it's fitting. Also, it's so much less wide than the last one, which is really, really nice. So hopefully I'll be able to finish the body today or tomorrow, and then we can move on to the neckline and be able to finish the slipover. Also, this has nothing to do with my knitting project, but I recently did a textured art workshop with my mom, which was actually really fun, and I definitely describe myself as not an artsy creative person for some reason, but they turned out really good, and we hung them up in our bedroom, so I thought I'd show you guys. So this is how they look. They turned out so cute in my opinion. We made them with sand mixture, and the white is like a plaster material, and she framed them with these like wooden frames for the canvases. They turned out so pretty. I love the detailing in them. I think it was so fun to create it ourselves, and we could do kind of whatever pattern we wanted, and we were inspired by her patterns and what she suggested for us to do. So it was super, super fun, and I'm so glad that now we have this handmade artwork in our bedroom. So I am working on my final row that I need to do for the neckline. I've just been zipping by it all day today. It goes really quickly, which is really nice. So the pattern says to do a certain amount of rows for the neckline before folding it down. And it does say in the middle to do 2 or 3 rows of double knitting, which I usually opt out of because I don't really understand what they're for. But this time I said that I do it just to see what it's like. So I'm not totally sure how I feel about it. It seems like it's just like a mark so that you know where to fold it down. I don't really understand why I need it, because if I'm just going to fold it down anyways to fit on the inside when I sew it together, then I don't really understand why. If anyone has some insight, I'd love to hear, because I would love to keep doing the double knitting if it is something that's necessary and makes a big difference in the final look. But if it's not super necessary, I think that I'll just keep opting out because I don't really see the difference so far. But other than that, it's going really well. The neckline is always super easy, super simple, and I'm really excited to fold the neckline down and knit it together. I always think it gives it such a polished and finished look. I've also been adding an elastic band and sewing it in together, so I'll be sure to put in some clips of that because it took me a while to realize that that's really, really important because the necklines of sweaters stretch out so much if you don't have an elastic in it, and it always just brings it back to the place that you want it to sit, and I think that it makes it look so much more polished and finished and more commercial. So I definitely really like that, and I definitely recommend doing it. I think I'm doing it in a bit of a different way than most people do it. I looked on the internet when I started to learn how to do this, and I didn't really find the correct kind of elastic or kind of how to do it, so I've been doing it a bit of a different way. So I'll show you guys, and be sure to let me know how you do it because I'd love to learn a new way because I'm not sure that the way that I do it is the best way, but it's working, so I'm not complaining. So let's finish this last row, and then I'll sew together the piece of the elastic, and then we can knit down the collar and finish this part of the slipover. Okay, so here we are in our pre-blocking try-on. I think it looks so good. I just weaved in all the ends also, which I think makes a really big difference. I do hope in blocking that these will kind of relax. I think they look a little funny, but I'm sure that once I block it, it'll get a little bit better. And lengthwise, I really like where it hits in the back. It's like just in the middle of the pockets at the bottom, which I think looks really nice. But in the front, I will say I think it's a tad short, but again, I think that's something that'll definitely get longer with blocking, and I can still tuck it in the way that I like, which I think is really nice, and that's what's important. So let's block it and see the final product.
Three days later.
Okay, so I officially finished my Friday Slipover by Petite Knit. I'm so happy with how it turned out. I did try it on, so I'll put in some clips of that, but I did put it back on the drying mat for a little while longer because it was still a little damp, so I'm not wearing it. But I did want to talk a little bit about the project. So I didn't write down when I started the project exactly, but I do think that it took around 3 weeks to a month. It is definitely a project that you could do faster if that's your only knit and if you're really focused on it, but I just wanted it to be kind of a side project and just take my time with it and enjoy the process, which I definitely did. So I'm really happy about that and very pleased with the result. So this is the second time that I've made this pattern, and I would say that in general, I would give it maybe like a 3.5 stars out of 5, just because both times that I've made it, I've had trouble. Maybe it's my gauge, it probably is, but I haven't had the rows match with the centimeters. So I usually like in patterns when it says do X amount of rows or X amount of centimeters, but when it says both of them, it is a good thing because you want to make sure that you get both of them correctly. So if you do 5 rows, then it's 5 centimeters or however many, but I found that kind of constricting, and if I got the right amount of rows or wrong amount of centimeters, then I was conflicted and didn't know which one to go by. I ended up all along throughout this Friday Slipover and my last one that I made, I went with the centimeters and not with rows because I felt like that spoke more to the final garment than just rows. And I'm happy that I did that, but still I felt like it often throughout the pattern I couldn't really get it correctly, and I was pretty close to gauge, so it shouldn't have been that different. Again, probably just me and something in my tension or the way that I'm knitting, which is fine too, and the end product turned out really pretty. I'm really pleased with it. It did block out so much, it relaxed a lot, so the length looks really good. I have enough room to kind of tuck it in the front, which is what I usually like to do, and I love that the width is so much narrower than my last one. Really made a big difference. I sized down, which made a really big difference. I will say, I don't know if you can see it in the clips, but the armholes, it does go down a little low, which is a little less of my preference, but my last one was pretty high up, so somewhere in between, and I'll probably wear a shirt underneath the slipover anyways, so it's fine and I'm not that concerned about it, but it also looks really great on its own without a shirt underneath, which I really like the look of. I love the browns. I think it turned out really pretty. The yarn for this project was really good. I really enjoyed it. I used Drops Flora and Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk. I like to write on the patterns that I print as I go how many balls of yarn I'm using and how much it costs and all those kinds of things, so I have the pattern with me. So I used for this one, I used 3 of the Drops Flora and 5 of the Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk. I will say, however, that most of these were either already opened or some kind of stash yarn, so they're not always full skeins. But if we're looking at it as full skeins, so I used 3 of the Flora and 5 of the Alpaca Silk. So since I ordered them on Wool Warehouse, that came out to be 21 euros for all of the yarn for the project, which is really great. For this project, because it was an extra yarn project, I did only have to order a few balls of the Flora. I don't even think I had to order all of them, and I had enough of the Alpaca Silk, so I really didn't have to spend a lot of money. I also already had the pattern, so I didn't add that into the cost because I already had it, and I just had to pay for shipping with Wool Warehouse, which was about 5 euros. So it all in all, it comes out to be about 26 euros, which I think is pretty good for a project. Usually I would order all the yarn and that would definitely make it more expensive, but Wool Warehouse does a really good job, and Drops in general does a really good job about having really affordable prices for yarns, which I really appreciate. So I would definitely call this project a success. I will say Broken Rib is just not my favorite to knit. I'd love to hear you guys' opinion about it, but I feel like something about it makes me feel like it should be more freeing than it actually is, and sometimes it feels really tedious to me, which can be a bit of a bummer. I don't know, maybe it's because doing 1 row of ribbing and then 1 row of knitting kind of annoys me, I feel like, more than it should, and I would prefer to either just do stockinette or ribbing. The mixture somehow slows me down, I think, between the two, but I do really love the finished look of it. I like that it's something a little more elevated than just stockinette, and it has some interest to it, but it's not full on ribbing. So I definitely would do something again in Broken Rib, but I'd probably keep it maybe to a slipover or something like that, because I think doing sleeves would make it a really long project, and then I think I could get annoyed with the Broken Rib. But I'm so glad that I did it, and I'm glad that it's blacked and off the needles, and now we can work on my next projects, which I'm really excited about. So if you stayed until now, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing my process with the Friday Slipover. I'd love to hear what projects you're working on, what projects you want to cast on. If you have any questions about the Friday Slipover, feel free to comment down below and we could chat about it and figure it out together. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!